Welcome. I am so glad that you're here today. This is a very special opportunity to, as mediaX does, bring together people from different backgrounds to talk about mutual interests. And the person that you're going to hear from today, Dr. Martin Lee, who is a physicist, a computational physicist, and has developed many algorithms that have helped Stanford stay at the head of the class in their research at the Stanford Linear Accelerator. He's a Tai Chi master. He is also a developer of programs for wellness that use technology for feedback. So without further ado, Martin, thank you for being here.
For today, I hope to entertain you with some of the story. That's why I brought us all here. And one of the reasons for being here is, as Martha introduced me, I have two interests. One interest, my scientific things, algorithm, mathematics, physics, and the other one is health and Tai Chi and all that. And so today, so for the first time, I share with you, I'm able to connect the two because of what I'm going to say to you today, the story behind that, and I hope to share this very exciting day with you. And so you kind of get a feeling for what it takes to get this far and what it might mean in the future. And well, the name of the talk is Grand Tong Chi response. So Tong Chi is something I'm sort of remade up, so I have to explain to you. And soon, in a little while, you find out what it means by Tong Chi. Both words are Chinese words, and I will explain to you as we see, as we go. And the main thing that connects what I was saying earlier of my two interests in work, one is healthcare, the other one is science. It's this heart stress minimization study, and I'd like to share that story with you in my talk. And as you can see, there are many co-presenters, and they're all here, and you met them already. So I will just show you what we're going to say. Now, this picture here you see, it's actually taken of a group of guests on crystal cruises, and they are doing so-called Grand Tong Chi. So it's very simple. It's somehow you bring your hand up, and then somehow you let them go down, and you do it over and over, and then something happens to your heart. And you don't aim for the heart, it just comes for the ride. So I hope to entertain you with this so-called Grand Tong Chi response. And the author of this Grand Tong Chi are here, and Emily would have been here, except that I don't think I could bore her anymore with rehearsing this talk. So much of it. I have to do it alone. But on the shifts, this would be every minute. And we are wearing a film badge, you see, that tell you where we're teaching on the cruises for 10 years or so. And we are the so-called Tai Chi instructor and lecturers. I give talk like this on cruises. And something they call crystal cruises called Creative Learning Institute. And this institute is very famous. The member of the institute include a Mayo Clinic, for example, and the wine tasting, something other. It's just really big. They cover all kind of areas. So health and fitness is one of the areas that we are affiliated with. And then we have show you what it looked like. And many years ago, one of my daughter made this video.
Relax, breathe, feel the breath, and do nothing extra. Raise your hands up towards your temples and lower them down towards your sides.
And that's it. So now when you see something like that's going to make your heart feel better, well, that's why you're here. So there's a story behind that. And I'd like to tell you the story. And the reference is the book that we've written. And the cover book, I took a part of it and it looks like that. So Amazon has all this. And it's no longer in print, so I'm not advertising. It's just so you know that. We've written up about the Grand Tong Chi in this book. And that's Well, 20 years ago, we published the book. So it's now 20-year anniversary. It's from publishing this book led me to the study that I did. So my story of connecting these two interests of mine began in 1997. So today is the 20th anniversary for this event here. So I'm really happy to be here to share this event with you. Well, Tai Chi is different kind of posture and motions, and what you add to it is something we call Tong Chi. It's an add-on. When you do Tai Chi, if you do it this way, then you could have the effect that we've been sharing with everybody, but not with numbers. Finally, we're able to quantify it for the first time, and you'll see it in the next few slides. That's an abstract. It's a very long abstract. You have a copy of the talk anyway. The PowerPoint will be available to you, so you don't need to really look at it. And I don't really want to go through it now. I just want to put it there so that when you go home, you can look at it later. And essentially, it's we did some measurement. We have a new device, and looking at it, we see some really fun things, and you can see it in a minute. So the device we're talking about is a wearable device made by this company, BASA Technology, and it has 4 patches, and you put it on your chest, and it measures your heartbeat in real time, and you could be doing something and wouldn't affect it. It's very high fidelity and noise free. So they developed this, took several years, and we are the first trying to test the mouse. They already tested on other people, but they never was able to test on a intervention that could produce immediate results, which is hard for them. They could only test baseline results. And so we now told them we could wear your device and do something and measure the changes. And that they were very excited. And we got together, teamed up with them, and did the experiment. And I will show it to you what happened. So one of the results looked like this. Like any measurement like this, if you do measurement in physics, what do you do in science? You do something, you measure the baseline, you do something and saw something else. And you know how to explain that, that becomes science. Now here's the experiment. We do something, we got a baseline, do something, and watch what happens. And within the 5 minutes of time, we do something that see if we change the baseline. And that's called a Grand Tong Chi. Okay? 5 minutes of Grand Tong Chi will change this picture, hopefully. And of course, we didn't know what it was until we did it. But once we saw this result, we were ecstatic. And here it is. So what's the difference? Well, here's the difference. Before, you see little beeps, irregularity of the heart rate. Every curve is taken, this is totally 5 minutes of data. So every curve is half a minute, it's 10 scanned here. And you look at the arrow, you see that's a misbeat. And that's what is called PVC, premature ventricular contraction of the heart. And that's a good indicator for stress. If the stress, and you could see in the next one, once he did 5 minutes of Grand Tong Chi, and it's like a new baby for 5 minutes. It might be longer. We didn't know, we stopped. It could be half a day, we don't know that. But it doesn't matter. What it matters for these people, they say, wow, our machine really works. They're happy, and we are happy. Oh, is that what happened? No wonder it feels so good. That's the story.
Wait, Martin, let me interrupt you.
Yes.
What is different curve represent?
Every half minute, it's one track of the heart rate.
Okay.
So those beats there are 4 beats, within one cycle, RPST, and the P is a big one, or the R is a big one. I'm not sure. I forget now. I'm up here. I don't remember. I think either R or P, the big one, and then you see this major peak, minor peak. Here's better. You see, so every one is 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat, 1 beat. And here's a window of just a little bit of that. And then each line is half a second, half a minute, and that's how many breaths you take for the subject. And then you see earlier, there's a lot of misbeat. If that's enough misbeat, you get heart attack. That's a pre-heart attack kind of warning. And for this person, he was like 30% into, something dangerous. And he knew it. He just went to the doctor not long ago, and he knew he had this problem. But then he also had been doing the Grand Tong Chi for a while. And then we pick him because he's like me, he's a scientist. And he's a plasma physicist. And he also does this, because I taught him. And we work with the algorithm, wasn't on this. But then I like scientists because we are very careful in what we do. And so he did it. And when he saw this, he was just happy. Because now there's a chance for him to be like this all day. If he could do that, then he's normal. So what's the chance? Practice this more. That's all I had to do. Then what are we doing? We should make something to warn people before it happens and say, do a Grand Tong Chi. And that's why we're all here, because we're going to talk about the possibility. What are we going to do next to take this so-called phenomenon and make it so that you won't have this? You always won't have this. You'll be always like this. And that would be what we want to do. So stay tuned. We'll talk about that. All right. Any more questions on that? Okay, good. Now, I don't know if I skip I don't know why that's blank. That worries me. Okay, so to look at the heart, I like to look at it a person first. The heart is just part of a person. So the heart, how the heart function must affect by what the person, how a person functions. So look at a person. In fact, we look at a person like the way Chinese have been looking at nature. And they say nature has 5 basic elements, and they call them the one that's here, and I'll go through them with you and see how you represent, look at the cell the same way you look at nature in terms of its 5 elements. So here, the first element, well, Chinese look at things as yin and yang. That means something you see or don't see. Yang is something you see, yin is something you don't see. Yang is something soft, yin is something hard. Yang is something that, don't move, yin is something that moves. So this is the general term they use and call yin and yang. You know all about yin and yang, right? So that's the yin and the yang. So yang is up here because you see them. The earth is here. Something below where you don't see. And same thing here. The body is something you can see like a tree. So there's a connection there. The mind is something you don't see. It's like metal that's underneath the ground. Don't see it. So the mind connects in the same way with this, has this connect to that. Okay? So same thing here. Water flows on top of, you can see. And then we think of qi. Okay? Something also could flow. And it's flow in the body. It's above. It's in the body, in the physical way. So physical is yang, mental is yin. So that's how you look at the body, the person. All right. Then fire, that's the 5 elements in the Chinese philosophy. It's same as qi, as thoughts. So thought is like fire, qi is like water, and thought could flow in the mind, just like qi could flow in the body. Like water could flow in the tree, same sort of thing. So there's a connection between the same way could look at both things. And I want to introduce that as a model for us to go on and describe to you what goes on when you do one of these. Why is your heart so happy with it? Okay. Now, so the connection is I just described to you the 5 elements here, how connect to the body the same way. And I don't have to go through that anymore. What's important is Chinese think earth as one of the elements in nature, and here we talk about the cell as analogous element for a person. Okay, the word cell sometimes gets the wrong idea. So next week I'm going to change the word cell, but right now, just so you look at it, I hope this is clear. All right, there's 5 elements for a person. There's 5 elements for nature. You could match them up. They have the same relationship. And using what people know about nature, we could use the same knowledge to help us understand a person. That's the idea. So qi is like water. It floats in the person, okay? And but thought is also like fire. It also moves, but it's in the mind. So this is kind of how you look at the connection. Now, to look at it a little bit deeper, what is qi then? You look at this picture. Well, if you look at the dictionary, Webster Dictionary, look at the word breath. It would define as that which supports a person's life. Qi is the breath. And it moves like water. And it also is physical, like water. And so tong is another word in Chinese. It just means natural flow. So tong qi means the natural flow of qi, of the force, of the energy, of whatever it takes to support life. And right now, keep that in mind. So when you say what tong qi is, that's what we meant. Okay, it's the breath that moves as we breathe. The word breath reminds you of breathing. Okay, and this breath is qi, and it moves around. And when it moves around, if it doesn't move around right, not natural, it's not tong. If it's natural, it's tong. Okay, so that gets us going. And the connection between the two systems, just summarize here. Okay, mind is like metal. It doesn't move much, and you can't see it. A body is like wood. It can move either, and you can see it. And qi is like water. It could move, floats. Thought is like fire, and you can see it, like your thought moving in the mind. And then earth, now replacing the word cell as the spirit. And why do I use spirit? Well, I go to courses, and I'm a lecturer on so-called mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit lecturer. So what else can it be? Okay, there we go. So the cell now becomes spirit. And with that change, magically, I have no complaint. People always say the word cell is not good, you know. People think cell is ego and this and that. I don't know what that is, but lots of people don't like the word cell. So think of it as spirit. We all have a spirit besides the mind and the body. And what happens when the spirit and the mind is under stress? Bad news. Okay? Body and mind, spirit, all can be under stress, being stressed out. And what happens when they stress out? It affects your heart. You can't run away from that one. So, all right, stay tuned. In nature, that's earth, water, fire, metal, wood. That's the Chinese way of looking at it. Water kills fire, fire melts metal, metal chop up wood, and somehow the wood become earth again, because when it decays, it goes back to earth. So this connection is the traditional way in Chinese medicine, in all this Chinese cultural thing, all based on so-called 5-element theory. And this 5-element theory, if you do it with the self, it turns out the same. Spirit affects qi, qi affects thought, thought affects mind, mind affects body. So it goes with these arrows, like that. And that's the tong qi process. What happened? Qi, in order to affect the body, it has to go through thought, mind, and then the body. And that is the tong qi process. And how do you initiate it? With your spirit. That is something new. That is something that would explain this measurement if you understand tong qi this way. So it's much deeper than tong qi, meaning just unblocking the flow, you know. And this gives you a little bit deeper look, a way to look at it, like the Chinese look at it as a way of nature. And Chinese, based on the whole Chinese acupuncture, Chinese treatment like herbs, all based on this concept. So this is now bringing together a very ancient concept and enable us to study ourselves to figure out what's going on when you could measure something outside what I show you by doing something so simple. So how does it all work anyway? There must be something magic about that. So the 5 elements are spirit, chi, thought, mind, and body. Okay? Now, look at what we could do when there's 5 functions we could do because we have these 5 elements. We could move because we have a body. We could think because we have mind. We could feel because we have thoughts. We could breathe because of chi. Because of spirit, because we know something called being. Being. That's the 5th thing that we could do. So today you hear a lot about being this, being that, right? Being mindful, right? Mindful meditation is a big thing about that. Being, the same being one with nature, that being one with yourself, that being. So this word being, when you talk about being, you talk about spirit. Okay, now, these are 5 functions, these 5 elements, and what can they do? Well, this is something that happens, but that's another thing that also does. It's something called that you need to know 8 things, not just 4 of these, and that comes from these things. What you have to do, everybody knows you have to pay attention. You have to have intention. Where's that go? Intention go with the mind. Has something to do with thinking, so it goes here. Pay attention has something to do with moving the body. Go here. Okay? Consciousness has something to do with feelings. It goes here. Awareness has something to do with breathing. It goes there. But what goes with here, with being, is mindfulness. Now you begin to understand how mindfulness works. Just because of that being. Okay? All right. So finally, we take all this understanding, this modeling, and try to come up with a recipe that teaches how to do this. Not just the motion, but doing it with your being. And when you do that, we cook up this recipe, and that's why we're on cruises, that's why we're here. Its recipe is very simple. 4 words. Body, what do? Pay attention. When you move, make sure you relax. Okay? The mind, make sure you have intention on something called do nothing extra. That's hard. In fact, you'll see how hard it is in a minute. Okay? The mind have to really be very clean. Thoughts, you have to feel grounded. Be conscious of the earth. Okay? Then breathing, you have to be aware of breathing, and just a simple word for breathe. That means just breathe. You think that's easy? No, it's not. Lots of time when you pay attention to something, you stop breathing. During the day, you stop a lot breathing. Whenever that happens, what happens to your heart? It misses fire. You go stop breathing and see how it misses fire. You miss breathing for 5 minutes, you're dead. Because it's just messed up everything. Okay, so that's how important all this is. And the 5th thing is be mindful. That's your spirit. So practicing this is what we call the Tong Chi practice. That's what makes it work. Otherwise, a motion like this wouldn't do anything. You have to do the motion with all of these things together. That's the practice. It isn't the motion. It's what you do to internalize the motion, to make it work on your heart. So that's a theory we have, and that's how it goes. The spirit, be mindful. And when you be mindful of breath, of chi, breathing, and then go up here, and then pay attention to feel the earth. And then go down here, make sure you do no extra with your mind, and go to the body, make sure you relax. So in order to connect the body and chi, you have to go through the elements this way. So this is a very specific recipe that we teach to all our students. And the first time they do Tai Chi, we teach them this. And then by the time they leave the class, they all be happier immediately. Instant benefit. So cruises love us because we could deliver instant gratification for the guests. And you too could benefit. Everybody could do that. It's very simple. But until now, the benefit's only storytelling. How can you show people it actually works? So the data you see is the first time ever I see it work in terms of numbers. And this is the story behind why I'm here. So to summarize it, here's how it goes. It reads, with intention, relax. Why relaxing? Pay attention. Why paying attention? Breathe. Why breathing? Be aware. Why being aware? Feel the earth. Why feeling the earth? Be conscious. Why being conscious? Do no extra. Why doing no extra? Keep intention. If you could do that, then your heart likes it, and it would be like a baby again, beats normally. That's the practice. That's the Tong Chi practice. That's the process, and that's the house of Tong Chi. Okay. So how the why of Tong Chi, it's good to know why too. So here comes the why. Okay? When you relax, what happens? The current flows in your body better through the nervous system. When you relax, the nerve realizes it. It fires properly. So you don't get a misbeat, you know? That all comes misfiring of the nerves. So current flow in the nervous system is better. When you breathe, the qi flow is better. Qi, that which supports life, you know? And that goes inside the meridians. If you know Chinese medicine at all, those are called qi path. And feel the earth goes with blood flow. Because blood likes to go down because gravitation. When you feel the earth, the blood goes down to your feet automatically. There's no way blood will go any other way. So you pay attention or it just go down. And that's the lowest point you go. So when you get all these things going down, what happened to you? The whole body got it. So it's a global exercise. But the thing that makes all three of them work is this one, of do nothing extra. And it optimizes the feeling of wellness. When you do that, the heart immediately sings, you know? Okay, so what that happened there is to get rid of stress. Because if you have stress, it will affect all these guys. When there's no stress, then it won't. That's how nature made us. And then the threefold results. If there's no stress, threefold become normal. Okay? And wellness works. So three flows, no stress. Not threefold stress. That's obvious, right? Now, Chinese been saying for centuries, traditional Chinese saying, qi dong, no pain. Not qi dong, pain. Well-known Chinese saying. That's behind Chinese medicine. Of cell healing, it's that sentence. So now you can see how the way we look at it matches with the way the traditional Chinese looking at it. And what are we trying to do is, this is so good, I want to name it, so I name it Tong Chi Response. So when we say the word Tong Chi Response, we mean just that. And when Tong Chi Response at the heart, and you see what happened to the heart. Because if the current flow is right, it won't misfire. If blood flow is right, you see, then it won't get back pressure and all that. And then the qi flow too. Of course, qi is something that only if you practice, you know what I'm talking about. Nowadays, there's so many things teach you qi. Okay? So it's getting well known now, all because of the Chinese medicine, acupuncture has demonstrated quantification of that process of qi. So now acupuncture pretty much accepted. The concept of qi flow in acupuncture path is accepted. So it's pretty much public knowledge now. And so Tong Chi Response, we restore the three different flows together. This makes it work optimally, faster, more efficient. So if you do them all together, you could get instant benefits. Some years ago, we studied at Stanford a program and cost $1.6 million, funded by National Institute of Aging, right here at Stanford. And you can see that I'm one of the person, and the investigator is professor here. And then he made up this view graph, so I don't change them. It's his view graph when the time we finish the study. And the study takes 3 years. Many groups of people. And that kind of study is not like the study we just described, where you measure something before and after immediately on a single person and declare you got something. Here, a group of people, they can measure them every 3 months because there's no wearable. So things are done the traditional way, or making groups of people doing the same thing, different thing. One group does exercise, one group does Tai Chi, one group eats good, and compare what happened to all three of them, and I'll show you the result. So this was about 10, 12 years ago. We did this study, took 3 years, and studied 3 groups, and there are many groups of 3 different exercises, and compare the results. So based on that, I show you some of the results. And it says, the program is called WISE Research. You can Google it and find a lot about that. And it says, this is a hypothesis, you know. It says Western exercise, we know it's good, but we want to see how good Tai Chi is. Well, for me, I don't care about that. I mean, I know how it feels, I know exactly. But this is good. This makes me able to quantify what we teach. So we did this program together. And the idea I had was, they want to study our way of doing Tai Chi, namely Tong Chi. And so we have our books and all that. That's all part of this study. And I give the theory behind it, like what I just gave you. So this is very much a Tong Chi study, and I'll show you the result. The objective is to see psychologically, physically, what the effects are, whether your body gets strengthened, and what other thing is. But they pick a group, all the participants has to have one thing in common. 8 had to be seniors. That at that time was only 73 or something like that. And they have to be sedentary, means they don't do nothing. Okay? They have no interest to do anything. And if they don't, but they have to be able to move. Some have pain, some not. But when they have pain, I also help them with all that. But that's what the group is. And to study that and see what happens. So here we go. So Tai Chi is one group, physical exercise another one, going to whole food is another one. And that's the baseline. So it's different baseline study than ours. That's traditional. They still do that today. You read all the study on Tai Chi is done this way, even now. So, okay. So one hero in the study is, this is a senior game, you know. Play every, I don't know how many years, 2002, that's when he won the gold medal after only 9 months of study with us in that program. He was sedentary, didn't want to do anything, and he rejuvenated his spirit. And he entered the thing, and he got gold medal, broke his own record, and the world record as well. And the feat, I show you this because the building, it says he improved his fear of falling. I mean, that's just, why don't they say something bigger? When I saw that, I had a laugh. And I said, I got to show this because this is the mindset. Tai Chi is good for falling. I mean, God. And Tong Chi, what do you think it's good for? Well, this will change all that. So he's a great guy. He lives here. His name is George. And you Google it and find what he did. But when I talked to him, asked him, you know, why you win this? He said, well, he taught me how to do relax, feel the floor, feel the grounding. And when I go out there, that's all I did. And the thing just went. That's his word. So anyway, okay, they study other things. They measure people every 3 months because there's no wearables. And they measure something called barrel flux sensitivity. And I don't even know what that is at that time. But it somehow measures the health of your heart. And the healthy, it's higher the healthier. And they do it every 3 months. And so these are bar graphs. There's a baseline, and then 6 months or 3 months, 6 months, I guess, was like that. And then there. So the first 6 months is the training where you actually have my wife Emily work with the group. And then second 6 months is called retention, where we are not there, they do it themselves. And then lo and behold, what's interesting is Tai Chi has a very slow response. It takes a while to get to affect this parameter. But it did at the end of 6 months. And once it affected, it stayed pretty level all the time. Now, this bar graph, it could have been just like that. But then on the bar graph, take the average, you know. And that's how much data they had over all the people average. So I guess every 6 months or whatever, this is wrong. Western exercise hardly changed. So it didn't get to your heart. No matter what people think it does, this parameter didn't measure it. Okay? They might have do something else, I'm not sure. But what they studied, the comparison is, this didn't change much, fluctuate. In fact, when it stopped, it declines. There's no retention. But Tai Chi, it didn't get started, didn't see anything until after the training period, because it's an integrated effect. But once you got it, it stayed up during the retention study. That's supposed to be a very big finding and surprised everybody, including me. But I'm not surprised because, you know. Okay, so I call this also Tongqi response. Right? I mean, how could this be? The explanation is what I just described earlier. Whatever the Tai Chi plus Tongqi, study over 6 months, keep on doing it for 6 months, and that response, a long-term response, and that's what that measure is. So we have this data. Of course, once you see this, my wish is to have a wearable to measure this and see what happened during the time you do it on an individual basis. And finally, from 2002 until now, we got our data. Okay, so what was their conclusion? This is their real graph, you know. It says 6 months Tai Chi is a good measure of this, endurance, one. And second one, leg arm muscle stretch and endurance. That means the physical exercise do all these leg arms, weight lifts, and they gain muscular strength. And Tai Chi doesn't do any of that. And yet, at the end, they measure the changes, the gain in strength, they're comparable. So again, you ask, Tai didn't do this. Why does it work on this? Well, because the Tongqi works on everywhere. That's why. Okay. And balance, I already told you that's really nothing. And heart rate variability, that's a heart condition. So I knew all this. That was good. So I really go after the heart. And the quality of life, that's hard to measure. A lot of self-reporting on that. But they are very happy. So cognitive function is a big thing. It's a surprise to everybody that people improve their memory just by doing Tai Chi. And Tongqi, of course, is what makes it work. And we published a paper on Journal of Aging. And one of the professor, Abby, was supposed to be here as one of the co-op on the panel. Unfortunately, she's on travel. So otherwise, she would be here, and I could just introduce her to you. And she helped us put together this research program. And I remember teaching the Grand Tongqi to her, and she said, I feel it. So she's able to get that feeling right away. And I would be happy if she was here, she could tell you what her experiences were back in 2002. But next time you might see her. So anyway, a whole bunch of people, and the conclusion is just this. This Tai Chi exercise are both good on physical functioning, okay? And then Tai Chi demonstrate improvement in cognitive functioning, which they think was a novel finding. And since then, Stanford had done a lot of follow-up study, research study on memory improvement, and other people too. If you look at a study, you didn't see anything until we published our result. So that result has motivated a lot of research in this area. And what's interesting is that's just, how could you do this and make that work? Well, now, I already told you, if you look at it in the Tongqi way, it's supposed to be. The mind is part of this. The mind, body, and spirit are connected through qi and thoughts. And if you wiggle those things, it always does, no matter where it is. So that's called global Tongqi, okay? And the exercise is designed for that. And but then if you wait long enough, that's just 12 months, and let's say you ask me, what do I gain after half a century of practice? And I would tell you, in a long-term effect, and here's what the Tongqi response is. With Tongqi, no stress. With no stress, free flows. With free flows, healing. First thing you heal. With healing, health. Get healthier. With health, harmony. Harmony, mind harmony. Okay? With harmony, happiness. It just comes for free. It goes like this. With happiness, youthfulness. Stay younger, longer. And with youthfulness, you live longer. So this is a long integrated Tongqi response. And that's what will happen if you do it a long time. So I show you what happened when you do a short time, and what happened to you in a year, and now what happened to you from self-reporting half a century later. And this we call the Tao of Youthful Longevity. And we were going to write a third book on it. In fact, we wrote a book for crystal cruises. Just on the trip that you saw when the picture were taken, we had a little book that we call the Tao of Youthful Longevity, just for the cruises. So this is part of the history. Okay, so that's pretty much it. But then there's something that's more immediate than that. A lot of people have stress that you know. For example, you have aches and pain. A lot of time, aches and pain are caused by stress in the area where you could feel the aches and pain. It's not always here, And when that happens, you could get rid of them. Give you an example. If you have a pain there, and you could use the method, relax, do you feel the earth, and touch the area. In a few minutes, goes down. And then if you have on a knee, you could do that, same thing. So anywhere you have pain, you could try it. And the question is, can the same monitor that response? Okay? I claim it might, because if you have pain, your heart knows it. Because your brain knows it, your heart will know it, because the free flow is affected that way. So when you don't have pain, it's bound to know. So I'm looking forward to do something next. So that's why I call looking ahead, quantification of self-reporting. Here right now, it's only self-reporting. I don't have pain anymore. But that's still self-reporting. In science, that doesn't count. So we need numbers. So I like to study this local area, like pain. So with Tongqi touch locally, no stress locally. With no stress locally, free flows locally. With free flow locally, no pain locally. With no pain locally, then the healing goes faster. And I teach that to thousands of people. I have thousands of stories, but not until now. Even now, we don't have a single data point to support that. And that's why I have this meeting. I'm working with Stanford and all my friends here to see if we can find a way, at least try this. It's ready to go. All you need is wear this, do this, and look at before, after. And when you self-report, it's better. Look at the signal. If that's not enough, there might be other devices we could add to it, like brainwave monitors and breath monitor and all kinds of things that we have now. So this is what I end of the talk now. So I want to leave you with some questions so that we could be discussing on panel. And the questions are, how do you maximize the result of Tongqi? Okay, can the Tongqi monitor with the same monitor brain stress, or do we need some other ones? Okay, and it's a good device to add on so that you do yoga, you could add to it and make yoga work better, or do mindfulness mindfulness meditation, add to it, make that better. It's what we done. We took Tai Chi and add to it and make it work better. So there's some question there. And then let's say you play musical instrument. Okay, maybe add this to it and make it play better. What other monitor can measure Tong Chi? Well, there could be lots of things. In the future, especially, there's a lot of work now, developing these things day and night. A lot of things happening. Then who's going to benefit from all this? Well, we like to present as an adjunct program, you know. It's like an add-on thing. Nobody say you do this and you get this. But I could only tell you, you do this, you always do better. Because you always involve, anything you want to do better, involve one of these processes that in the Tong Chi process. How do you integrate this to the wellness community? And who can benefit? So here I have invited some panelists who are interested in doing it for veterans to make them feel better, elderly, and athletes. And then what else we could do to make it better? We could try technically machine teaching, machine learning, and modeling. So this is where the two areas that I'm interested in match up, because I'm into this world and I'm also into this world. So this is where I'm going to end. Thank you, and I would welcome any comments right now. And then after that, if it's time, we could have a discussion among you and the panelists. And I'm just going to be here and listen to your words of wisdom. Thank you very much.